Happy New Year, ShouJoe listeners. I'm your host, Sarah, joined by Joe, live in the studio of my desk. Exciting stuff here.
Yeah.
Today.
It's 2025. Wow. I mean, not when we're recording it, but when you're listening to it, it is.
That's right.
Our year, it's going to be our, says nobody. Nobody has any good, I feel like, feelings about the upcoming year, which I think is fair because it does seem like it's going to be pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, my sister's getting married, so hopefully it's not too bad.
Oh, well, maybe it will be. I mean, maybe this will be like the thing where it's like, will everybody else be having a bad year? Yes, but maybe you'll be having a good year.
Yeah,
you know?
Maybe. Yeah, 2024. Not.
Oh, you didn't like this year?
It was, well, okay, our podcast, starting the podcast, fun,
yeah,
good.
That's a net negative, yeah. Keep going.
I don't know.
And thus I had homework every week.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's been a hectic year a little bit, but hopefully.
How was your year in review?
Like of life, just how life went.
How was the last year?
Emotional roller coaster. Work was good, at least, I guess. Work was also just full. Well, work is always busy. Got a new dog, but we did lose 2 fairs this year, so that's kind of a bummer. I don't know if Lemon's enough to make up for that. Does she make up for 2 ferrets, 1 dog?
It's not really up to me to say, to be honest.
But yeah, Joe, you've met Lemon and Cricket now.
I've met your dogs.
Cricket would not shut the hell up for the first day.
Your dog's like me now.
Yeah, although Cricket, every time you leave her line of sight, she forgets you were here and then barks like you just.
That's also true.
Emerged out of nowhere.
Yep.
Oh, God. How about you, Joe? How's 2024 been for Mr. Joe?
Year in review, pretty good. I think it's gone more or less well. You know? Don't have a lot of... I mean, I ended up doing most of the things I wanted to do, I would say, for the most part. I did find a note in my, like, iPad notes of, like, resolutions for last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't do most of them.
Oh.
I didn't do a marathon run of Kingdom Hearts.
That was on your to-do list?
That was on my to-do list. But, I mean,
it's a lot of games to play.
It is. And I didn't play any of them this year, actually.
You're just making Jenny do it instead.
Yeah, I was making a friend do it. But other than that, you know, I think it did pretty good. You know, I did that.
Nice.
That birthday stream.
Oh, yeah.
24 hours. That worked pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Playing through all the Gears of War games for some reason. That's not really has anything to do with resolutions or anything, but that was also pretty good.
Yeah, just for fun.
Just for fun. I do a podcast. I've watched more Gundam. I'm very close to being done with Gundam Wing, a show that I think is ending pretty badly. But then I'll be done with it. And I can watch a different show.
Another
Isn't that
Gundam.
great?
More and more Gundam. Never ending Gundam.
I'm on to the 08 The Mess team.
How many more are there for you to watch?
There's a lot.
Oh, God. Nice.
Yeah. So, you know, year was pretty good. Next year, I don't know. It'll probably be pretty good. Like, on a personal level, it'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
I don't have
fine.
It'll probably be fine. That's the attitude I'm walking into it with. Being like, I mean, you know, sure.
Oh, dear. Okay. Well, as far as the podcast go, it's going to be a great year.
Oh, yeah. No, we're going to be watching some stuff I'm excited to watch. Soon. The next thing we watch should be pretty interesting, at least.
Yes, it'll be one I haven't seen, so that'll be a different dynamic. Have you seen it, or you just...
I have not seen it.
Okay, so neither of us have seen it, so we'll be going in straight,
should
fondness.
Yeah.
Clouding our judgment. Yeah. Sweet. Well, I guess with our joyful year end and looking forward discussion over, should we jump in?
Well, have you watched any anime? Have you done anything?
Okay. Joe's visiting, which is like, okay, so this is like 6 days of me socializing straight. That's crazy.
It's day 2.
I know. Oh my God. I know. I haven't taken any naps yet.
It's true. You didn't go to sleep at 9:30 p.m. last night, though.
I was tired. I did watch the last episodes of Miraculous Ladybug.
Oh yeah, Jenny came over and so Jenny and I watched Miraculous Ladybug, a French superhero show for children. It's actually very fun and like goofy and ridiculous, and we watch it a lot. And we watched the last 2 episodes of season 5, which actually is like extremely plot relevant. Like they kind of just they deal with the main villain of the show, so it's like those are the only episodes that Sarah has seen.
It's crazy. Let's see.
So we were freaking out while watching it.
And while Jenny was here, we got our cosplay set up, so we'll be doing our first ever group cosplay here in a few weeks, so that'll be exciting.
Did some dyeing. It worked out pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was going to go way worse than that.
That's right. I accidentally dumped the dye water over my patio.
Yeah, I don't know why you guys did that. You guys did that while I was doing something else.
Yeah, it's fine. It turned out fine. But watch the first episode of Free Run. Meh.
Yeah, you were not into it.
No, not really. Let's see.
It's just like a chill show about like, what if you spent the time to actually learn about your friends instead of just coasting?
It's too real. It's too real for me.
That's too real. It's like too much of a lesson that you would take to heart. That's sad, Sarah.
Yeah. Yes, just seeing firsthand my miserable little existence here.
It's mostly just when you say stuff about your life that it's sad.
If I'm alone, there's no one to say anything to.
I'm just silent all day.
I stream.
That's true. No, you talk out loud.
Yeah.
I can go full days without talking to anybody because I work from home.
Yes. Had you watched the first episode of Prince of Stride?
Yeah.
Alternative.
It just reminds me of when I played Mirror's Edge recently. And I was like, damn, remember Mirror's Edge? That was a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad they're not going to make any more of it because the video game industry is in shambles.
Yeah, don't worry. Walkabout Mini Golf is here forever, though.
That's good.
So you don't need to worry.
You guys need to make a free running VR game. I'm sure that won't like make me want to throw up.
It sounds horrible. I mean, like it would be cool, but also so disorienting.
Yeah, that would be pretty rough.
How about, or I guess other than, oh god, see, look, I'm like gonna be recording with my eyes closed and like I'm awake. My brain
got coffee like an hour and a half ago, and you're falling asleep. Do you get good sleep? Do you have apnea?
I don't.
Are you a narcoleptic? Like, are we gonna have to take you to the doctor?
I'm a danger to society when I'm behind the wheel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I finished show. Yeah. I finished an anime. I finished Space Runaway Ideon, which ends in there's like a final episode, but then there's like they made like a movie to like expand the final episode. So like it's the same animation in there, so you don't really need to watch the final episode. That being said, I thought it ended really well. There's a mecha anime that's very popular called Neon Genesis Evangelion. Mm-hmm. That show ends with a movie called End of Evangelion that I hate. I think it sucks. I do not like it. Part of the reason I don't like it is that a lot of the characters just feel like they're acting out of, like, it just feels like everything's out of character. A lot of stuff happens that's kind of a bummer, and then it kind of ends in a way that is like a downer, kind of. But like a downer in a way that isn't even fun. It's not like bleak. It's mostly just like, okay, we just got to the end of this, and I'm like, I don't think what you have to say is very good, show. I think what you have to say is pretty uninteresting. And the Space Runaway Ideon movie, Be Invoked, does a similar thing. Like, it is very similar to End of Evangelion, if you've ever seen it, in terms of like the attack on Nerve basically just happens, and like all this other stuff. But it ends on like such a higher, more optimistic note that like this type of movie actually works. It's really interesting to see how a lot of like, especially like mecha anime stuff, like I guess the Macross movie kind of also did this. They basically are all doing the same kind of thing with like the big ending movie, but it never really works as well as Ideon does. Like Ideon pulls it off in a way that I'm like, this is actually really like nice, even though it was like pretty harrowing to get through this part of the movie. So I was very impressed with it because I just didn't think I liked endings like that. But now I'm like, okay, Like, I can see where you got this from. And then everybody made, their own version of it that was not as good.
Yeah, we were flipping through like Netflix yesterday, and it was like, want to watch this Naruto movie or that One Piece movie or this and that?
Well, this is like an ending movie. Like, you need to have watched everything up to that point. Like, it's the finale of the show, basically. Like, the things we were talking about are just like one-off movies that don't matter.
Not canon.
Not canon.
Gotcha. Well, yay. Another show under the belt. That
one was really good.
Good.
I'm like, I should get that on Blu-ray, except I'm not going to be able to because I don't think they print it anymore.
Dang.
So rip to that.
Indeed. Yes, physical media. Yeah, even books you get. I have incomplete books because they'll never be finished in English. That's annoying.
You just need to print out some fan translations and then bind them yourself. God. People have gotten into TikTok is big on binding, book binding right now. That could be you. You could bind your own fan translated manga.
Oh my god. That sounds like anything that requires effort. That's not for me.
Come on. That could be your thing. You could get your own following. You could be like, oh, well, they're never going to translate this one. Here's how I did it. Maybe don't like.
Well, TikTok's about to go under, so.
Well, it's not going to go under. It might get banned, although who knows? It seems like maybe they won't do that, question mark. We'll have to see. Well, as
someone who works in social media, it's annoying with the uncertainty.
I'm sure it is, yeah. But like Instagram's just copying it, so you can just move over to there.
Well, there needs to be more editing within the app stuff on Instagram then.
Oh, is it bad? I've never used Instagram to post anything because I don't like it. Mm-hmm.
Well, you're just too. Well, most people have like a thing, and that's their thing that people follow them for. But you just do everything, so like it's hard to keep.
Well, I don't do anything consistently, so it's not even like this. Check out what I'm doing this week. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, just have like a Joe tries.
Oh God,
basketball.
Tries. That would be what? Like basketball
take
basketball stuff.
Yes. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be happening.
Too bad. Yeah, I used to think you'd be so good back when like the Rage Quit or whatever was popular. I was like, Joe, you'd be so good at being like an angry person on it.
But I'm not that angry is the thing. Like I don't
good at sounding mad.
I can sound mad because it's easy, but like I don't have that.
When you were playing the Persona 5 Egyptian boss and you were like, this is stupidest ever.
Listen, the bosses in Persona are not well designed. I am like on record as being like, I don't like these bosses. The last boss of the third game that's like 15 phases or whatever, and you lose like in the very last phase, it's just like, I don't even want to play this again.
I know. That's where I'm at in my playthrough of Persona 3 Portable.
It's terrible. It's bad. Why would they even have this?
I'm basically done. Count as a completed game.
I'm like a big fan of like, if you want to have super hard bosses, they should be like optional side bosses, and like the mainstream ones to like do the plot should just be like, decently hard, but not like ridiculous where you're going to lose hours of gameplay if you die.
Yeah.
Side bosses are like whatever. They're like challenge bosses. Who cares? I like that setup better than like, ooh. This is also in the era of like unskippable cutscenes. Like, God, it was so bad. It was so bad.
Why? Why aren't they skippable?
Because it's an old game. I don't know.
It's not that old.
It is. Yeah, that's true.
Came out like 2018 or something.
3? 5?
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking 5.
Oh, no. 5 had skippable cutscenes.
Okay.
I was skipping that stuff all the time.
Okay. Persona 3 Portable has, I think, the skip option.
Yeah, but not in the like in the boss.
Because there's no actual cutscenes.
Yeah, it's like not a cutscene. It's like the boss starts talking to you in the middle of it, and like then you have to do like a scene transition. I'm like, can I just like press start and be in the next phase? I have to watch this whole thing happen, and I do.
Yeah.
Bad.
Have you watched any of the Persona animes?
No. I've never been interested. Are they any good?
I've never watched them either.
Okay. I don't want to think about the main character having a personality.
Oh, that's true, right?
Because then that's just going to affect the entire thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really like silent protagonists that much because I feel like, especially in like the Persona ones, I'd rather them just have a personality.
Well, just at least give them freaking voice, man. And like maybe, I don't know, like, I don't know. It's tough because like either you don't have a personality, it's more just based off whatever your decisions have been made.
Yeah, but like,
or like it's only for that conversation that it.
Like they do railroad you into having a certain type of personality. Otherwise, the story just kind of doesn't work.
Yeah,
which like I get, but also I don't know. I don't like games that are like, oh, you have so much player freedom, but like actually not really. You actually don't have any player freedom at all when you actually play it. I'm like, why even like give me the illusion of choice here? You could just play it out.
Yeah,
it's fine. I don't need to pretend like.
Maybe there just needs to be a game where the gameplay is like different routes of playing as a very intense character type, and like all your options are bad if you pick to be the bad guy. And she's like, what way do you want to go about being terrible or something?
Yeah, but I don't even like that. Like the video game thing of like, well, you can either be a perfect little angel or the worst guy ever born is like really uninteresting to me. This is like the Mass Effect thing, where I'm just like, literally, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't. Being a bad guy is just dumb. Like, you're just like a cartoonish villain.
In Mass Effect, though, there's funny moments, but like in Star Wars, you're just like,
well, there is funny moments, but it's also like you don't know if they're going to be funny or not, or they're just going to be like sad. Sometimes I'm mean to people, and I'm just like, that feels bad. But sometimes it's funny, and I'm like, well, that was worth it because I was funny.
Oh man. Video games. Well, maybe we'll get to the point where what do you think? What's the future of video games looking like?
Everything's a terrible AAA game, or it's made by or there's like only like indie games. There's no medium-sized games anymore because the entire industry fell apart.
Or if the first indie game is good and then they get the budget to make it even better, then it gets ruined by people now interested in its success.
You know what's crazy? So I have a Tumblr, and there's like a thing that talks about like most popular like video game characters, and it's like a big ranking, and a lot of them are like characters from the Call of Duty franchise. I didn't even know there were characters in the Call of Duty, and I played some of those.
They have campaigns. But like, you gonna remember these dudes' name? They all look the same. What website? Or Tumblr?
Yeah.
Tumblr. I haven't been on there since.
I can't imagine the fandom for Call of Duty, a game about like playing online against like 11-year-olds who are just using slurs all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really understand how you could have a fandom around that.
I don't know. I don't understand that either. Well, like Game Informer, God, I really wish I had kept my Game Informer copies, but like they did an edition where it talked about like maybe it was of the decade or something, but like they did a ranking of characters. I think Commander Shepard was like number 2 maybe on the list, but I guess that's because because the thing with Commander Shepard is maybe you can't do as much, but like it's still like you do have some choices, but the character still has a distinct personality. Like the voice actor, or at least Jennifer Hale does such a good job at like Commander Shepard having identity, and then like I don't know. Commander Shepard's a good. I don't like silent protagonist is right. Like yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. But with like Mass Effect, like with like the thing with Shepard is like Shepard does have a personality, but you can also control like if they are like a bad guy or not. And I think that's weird because it is like it feels like if you go down a path, the actions that your character does canonically just don't make sense.
Well, it's not even like it's more like because you're like military, so obviously you're gonna be more
you're like a cop,
hard ass and like do what you gotta do to get it done. It's just the manner in which you do it. And it's, it's, I guess because of that, it's like nothing you do can be bad enough that you can't continue being that person in that role.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird. I don't know. It's fine. Ultimately, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't think about Mass Effect through the lens of like character decisions anyway, because they kind of don't matter.
Yeah. Well, this is basically so you've only been here for like 48 hours and all our conversations are just like this, kind of just random, like, let's get in depth about things. We've been talking about Chihayafuru a lot off.
That's because we watched it together.
Mike, yes.
Well, we didn't talk about it that much.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten into the meat of it, which we're going to do here. But yeah, I mean, this is just how I talk about stuff.
I know.
You don't like it.
I'm just not.
You don't like it when I talk about stuff.
No, that's not true. You can talk about stuff. Just don't have the expectation that I'm going to be good at answering questions.
Okay.
About myself.
All right.
Oh my god. We'll see. This is like a Sarah training boot camp week.
What does that mean?
By the end of it, I'm going to be doing my core exercises. And
you should be doing those.
Fix my posture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that would be good if you did that.
Yeah. We'll see. All right.
Do we want to get into Chihayafuru?
Let's do it.
We watched 3 episodes of Chihayafuru. If you watch these episodes, you may have noticed that episode 16 was a recap episode. We're going to have very little to say about that one. So mostly it's going to be like 2 episodes. So go ahead and be ready for that. If you haven't watched them yet, you really don't need to watch episode 16. It's a recap episode, but there are some like little funny interludes that we'll cover that might be worth watching. So you can just skip through it. That's basically what we did. Actually, no, we did end up watching the whole thing.
Yes. If I was watching by myself, I would have just skipped it in its entirety.
There was nothing in there of any particular value.
Yes, nothing you need to see to continue the plot and all that.
Yeah. All right. So Chihayafuru verse 14 is called For There Is No One Else Here. We're at day 2 of the Omijingu or whatever, and it's like, oh, also, because I watched this in person, I didn't take like regular notes that I normally take. I mostly just like took notes on my iPad and we watched it twice. So this is going to be a lot more casual of a recap. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's the benefit of the new year and of being in person. So this is like the individuals. They're doing individuals today. And they're all separated by class. So Chihaya is a class A, Nishida and Taichi are class B, and Tsutomu and Kana are class D. So they all have to go and play on like different floors also. Mm-hmm. So like Chihaya is on the top floor. Class B is on the second to top floor. I think it's just like that. Yeah. Taichi does not seem that interested in playing the individual maps. He's just like, oh, right. I guess I'm class B, so I'm not going to be able to play against class A, which means I wouldn't be able to play against Chihaya or Arata if he was theoretically here, but even though he's not participating in this tournament.
Yup.
But he does not seem to care about like winning or like Nishida is all into it, and like Kanzatomu and Taichi's just like, oh yeah, I guess I'll go play the individuals. I'm already here.
Yeah. Can't stare at Chihaya in the same room.
Yeah. Round 1 happens and Chihaya is playing against some woman. Sudo's also there. And so they're like looking at the lineups and Sudo's like, oh, you know who else is at this tournament, Chihaya? It's the current queen, Shinobu Wakamiya. And she's here and she's 16. And she's going to be playing against the PSP kid. She shows up. She's a prodigy. She's got bad fashion. What's she wearing?
She's wearing like sweatpants with a graphic tee tucked in, but then she's wearing like loafers with sweatpants, like leather penny loafers with sweatpants.
They're like Capri sweatpants.
It has like
too.
and
like
then off. Yes, and she has like a thermos with tea in it hanging off.
Yeah.
Oh man.
She has a t-shirt that has a snowman on it that says snow.
Yeah. So yeah, even one guy says like, oh, she's really pretty, but she has a fashion sense of a rock.
Yeah, she's like a little weirdo.
So like all the hot chicks in this show, freaks, I guess.
Yeah, just like in real life.
Yeah, okay. The crazy hot matrix or
whatever. She recognizes Sudo and he hates her. She like says a thing that's like, oh, you showed up even though your team didn't qualify. You must really like Carta, and he takes it as an insult. And I don't know if she meant it as an insult. I think she's just weird.
Poking. No, I think she knows that it's to upset him.
Okay.
Like she's just kind of teasing and has more like taunting rapport.
She doesn't seem very social.
No.
She doesn't seem like she has any friends or a life worth living.
To wear better clothes.
Let's see. She wins her game against the PSP kid by 24 cards, meaning he only took 1 card the whole game. So insane. Get wrecked, PSP kid.
That's crazy.
The next lineup, Chihaya goes back and forth between like one. I mean, Chihaya wins her match. Whatever. We see like 5 minutes of it or something. They go back to like the round 2 where they're just like lining up the different players, and Chihaya in her head goes back and forth between wanting to play against the queen or not, and she ends up getting matched against her, so she has to play her. The round starts and Shinobu is crazy fast, like anime. I can't even see her move fast. Like like her advisor is recording it and like plays it in slow motion, and it's like her hand is just a blur in slow motion.
Yeah, that's how fast it is.
It's like ridiculous. Let's see. So that's going pretty bad for her. She loses the first several rounds.
Cards.
Yeah, first several cards. Let's see. We come back to B class. Taichi gets matched up against somebody who isn't there, I guess. So he wins by default, which means he doesn't have to play. So he can go watch somebody. And Nishida's like, oh, you should go watch Kana. And he's like, why would I go watch her?
That's so terrible. You are the president. You should just favor going to watch Chihaya.
I mean, I feel like it makes sense to go watch your best player play, right? Like, that seems interesting. But Nishida's like, but I told Kana that if she finished her match early, she should come watch me. So you should go watch her since you don't have to play at all.
Yeah, and he's like a little blushy as he's saying this. So
it's true.
Like, is Nishida into Kana a little?
It's hard to tell because like he's telling her to go. He's telling him to go watch her
and say, "Tell Kana I said good luck" or something.
Yeah. But then like he's also
and forget Tsutomu. That guy's on his own.
Well, I mean, if you're watching Kana, you're also watching Tsutomu, right? Like,
well, let's not mention him at all.
Yeah. He does not mention him at all. So I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, Taichi does not do that. He goes to watch Chihaya because, of course, he does. He sees that he's playing the queen, and he's like, "Oh shit!" He knows that Chihaya can be as fast as Shinobu, but only when she's doing one-syllable cards. She can't be as fast for every card, but Shinobu can be as fast as every card. So that's the difference. Shinobu knows how to play. We also learn the rules for card disputes, and we learn that there is a ref. Even though we can't see one. I don't know where the ref is.
I don't know if it's like, maybe it's because they call them the judge, and maybe there's one on like each side of the room. And so like each one's responsible for a certain. I don't know how one person could be tracking multiple games. And
yeah, because
it doesn't seem.
It's the second round, right? So like there's still
lots of people in the room.
Yeah, there's probably like 40 games happening.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you have? They don't have 40 refs.
No, so strange. I guess it's mostly just relying on the players to figure it out.
Yeah. Anyway, that happens. Let's see. Shinobu recognizes the mascot on Chihaya's shirt and says its name.
Daddy Bear.
Yeah, it's called Daddy Bear, which is a terrible name. And Chihaya's like, dude, she's wearing the Snowmaru t-shirt. You have to like custom order that or something.
Yeah, it's only in the store that sells it. It's only in Osaka, so you have to order it online. And yeah, so they have like a shared moment of like, shirts.
Oh,
cozy,
mascots.
Yes.
We love these little mascot guys.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of snaps Chihaya out of her funk a little.
Yeah, and Chihaya's like, oh, that's right. Shinobu's also like she's the same age as me. We're both 16. It was already learned that she's 16, which I guess we knew because it was her birthday.
It was her birthday, yes.
It was her birthday. She does not feel like she's 16.
No.
Anyway, Chihaya guards a card by like putting her hand over it as they like read the syllables of the thing, but like Shinobu still gets it from under her guard in like the most absurd
it is insane.
Card take.
Yeah, because basically they each have a card that starts the same on both their sides, so they start by guarding the one on their side so that at least it doesn't get taken, and then once they hear enough syllables to know which one it is, then take it if you can. Or it was on Chihaya's side, so all she had to do was lower her hand to take it, but somehow Shinobu went from guarding on her side all the way to Chihaya's card before Chihaya could even lay down her hand. So it's crazy. And like she did, and then like there was no like physical contact even. Like she just touched the card from under her hand without even grazing Chihaya.
Yeah, this is impossible to do in real life. There's just no way you can do this. Let's see. Chihaya hasn't taken a card yet. Shinobu thinks that Chihaya's given up after she like doesn't even really try to take one of the cards. But Shinobu knows that this happens a lot. Like when she played PSP Kid, it's like you start just dominating them and then they just kind of give up. So she's like, well, guess this is happening again. That doesn't happen though, and someone actually turns the lights off and on. Chihaya sees Taichi and their advisor, and she like is like, oh, I need to like reset myself. I'll do the thing that Pseudo does. He like stands up and looks real arrogant, and so she stands up and looks real arrogant, and then we pan to the left a little bit to see Pseudo behind her doing the exact same pose.
It's so good.
It's probably the funniest part in all these episodes.
Yes, I loved it.
Even though I hate Pseudo. Pseudo sucks.
Yeah.
Chihaya gets her head back in the game. They both go to take a card, but like Shinobu's a little bit faster. And then the next time they both go and take it, and like they take it basically at the same time. So Shinobu was like just going to give it to her, but she's like, no, I think you actually took it first. And Shinobu was like, all right.
Yeah, it was on Chihaya's side, so it should have gone to her if it was unsure who got it. And then she's like, and then Taichi's on the sideline being like, what the hell are you doing? Take the card for your own. And then, she's scolding herself with the image of her Dr. Arata saying, like, every card on the field is yours. Don't surrender any of them.
He's like, you should be disputing everything, which makes me feel like you would need a ref to play, like, a better, higher level games if you're just going to dispute every time you possibly can.
Don't worry about being polite. But she justifies it by being like, if I'm going to win, like, without a doubt. No, like, fluke card
that's
taken.
what she says.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Chihaya then takes a 1-syllable card on Shinobu's side, which is like a big deal because those are the ones that are the easiest to get. And it's also, if it's on your side, then you're most likely going to get it. But she takes it from her, and it's like a big deal. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, oh, shit. Because she takes her opponent's card, she gives her one card, and she gives her the Chihayafuru card. And then that's the next card that's red, and she immediately takes it. So she takes 2 cards on Shinobu.
Manifesting.
As we cut to credits on that episode.
Yes. So we're 2 cards in a row, which I guess doesn't happen against the queen a lot.
Against the best person.
Yes.
Unexpectedly.
Yes, she sent her right, because when she's getting kind of losing it, she's been trained to do offensive card. And so, but not taking any cards. It's like, oh, do you just naturally? Well, also, as you lose and more cards are on your side than your opponent's card, it's more likely that they're going to be red on your side. And so then you like are forced to become more defensive because like the probability of it being on your side and defending versus attacking becomes higher.
Yeah, having an early advantage is really valuable.
Yes. And we were talking about this a lot, but like Chihaya just is like, for being like our best player on Mizuzawa's school team, like she kind of always sucks in the first half of games.
Yeah, we're gonna get more on this next episode.
Oh man. But yeah, so ends on a high for this episode.
Yeah, kind of. Or like, could this be the stage of the comeback? All right, we'll go to the next one. So verse 15 is called As Though Pearls Have Been Strung Across the Autumn Plain.
This is crazy.
Right now, the current standing between Shinobu and Chihaya is 7-23, meaning that she's up 14 cards. Nope, she's up.
Math.
She's up 16 cards. But everybody's impressed that Chihaya hasn't given up yet, because usually their opponents just kind of give up. If you were down by like 13 cards, it's probably over for you. However, Shinobu's looking pissed that she just got 2 cards taken on her. Mm-hmm. And she just starts like acting and like being drawn like an anime villain. It's very weird.
Yes.
I don't really get what her deal is. Chihaya can't take multiple syllable cards though. But Taichi does note that she gets better in the late game because there's fewer things to memorize. And so she seems to like be more of a comeback player as opposed to being good at early game, which is unfortunate because being good at early game gives you a big advantage.
Yes, very much so.
Let's see. Chihaya is feeling better, but she still loses after only taking 5 cards. So she lost by 20 cards. Shinobu leaves and goes to look up who she just plays because I guess she just didn't pay attention. And she sees that it's Chihaya and she hates her. she's just like Chihaya.
No, she's just like, who the hell's this chick who came out of nowhere? Kind of, Well, I think she tries to play it off like, oh, don't call me queen, this and that. But I think she very much has a lot of pride and arrogance about being the best, and like having
weirdo
anyone like generate chatter of excitement against her maybe makes her notable enough to keep an eye on in the future.
The only person we see her talk to is Pseudo, a guy she hates.
Yeah.
So it's like she goes to these competitions and has no friends.
Yeah. Everyone's because before Chihaya got selected as the person to go against her in the last episode, it kind of pans across a crowd of people, and Pseudo's being like, bring it on, I'll go against her, as they're like picking the opponent for the queen, and then everyone else is like, don't let it be me, not me, I don't want to go against her.
Yeah, but it's like, does she even, because everybody else came here to like, I was like, usually a part of like high school teams.
Mm-hmm.
She's on a high school team. She have teammates. We don't see her talk to anybody.
No.
It's like you just come to this tournament and don't talk to anybody and win and then leave. That sounds like it sucks.
Yeah, I guess we saw her walking up the shrine alone. Maybe she's the only maybe she's
I forgot to mention that.
Oh, yeah.
She's the girl from the shrine in that one episode who shows up and then disappears. Why did that happen?
The one that thought...
The one that looks like her and Arata. Yes, combined together.
No, but she's like kind of the female Arata. Like really good blue eyes, black hair.
Yeah, but Arata has friends, we learn, in his high school. And I don't think she has any friends.
No. So I'm guessing maybe she's from an incredibly rural area, and maybe there's like barely anybody that she could play with, let alone that would even be interested in Karada. So maybe she's just had a very solitary life in general.
I'm going to be honest, this does not seem like a game for like social people.
Maybe that's why I like it.
Right? Like it's like Arata, who is very good, antisocial. She seems very antisocial. I mean, I guess like Dr. Harada seems like pretty like a fun guy, but that's basically it.
Yeah.
Pseudo seems like nobody likes him really. I mean, his teammates like him, but he seems unapproachable.
Yeah.
Retro's weird.
Yes. I guess because we don't see. I guess he would have been in Class B with Taichi and Ishida.
Or he might have been in class. No, they have 3 Class A's on their thing. I don't know who the third one is.
No,
he might be A.
Well, I'm surprised we didn't see him a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't
commentating.
See him
Yeah.
all right. Anyway, let's see. Chihaya comes up to Shinobu and compliments her Snow Maru shirt, and Shinobu is shocked that the snowman has a name. She's like, "This snowman has a name? Somebody recognizes this snowman? That's crazy."
Maybe she got it for like a thrift shop or something.
I don't know.
Or hand-me-down.
Let's see. Taichi is upset that Chihaya lost because he was watching her match. He goes to comfort her and sees her practicing while also crying, where she's just like trying to quick draw in the air, but she's also crying. And Taichi's like, "Oh, she's in it now. She's in it for good." And then he thinks about how he's going to get left behind by her and Arata, and is like, I should get my head in the game. Yeah,
they call for a round 3.
Yeah, this is where... No, this is not where this happens. Never mind.
Well, he's like, oh, her dream is finally real now because she's seen the person she would need to beat to make her dream come true.
Yeah.
Which is being the queen.
Right.
She had to beat Shinobu in an official The Queen tournament.
Yeah, the bar is set now.
Yes.
So that's something.
Yeah, she lost by
20 cards.
Yeah. So that's quite the difference to make up.
It's quite the difference.
Yes.
Let's see. There's a time skip. It's the finals, and Shinobu is playing against Pseudo. She wins by 12 cards, and Pseudo is pissed.
Which, yeah, we're kind of like, okay, because Chihaya beat Pseudo in the team matches, but then he did way better against Shinobu than she did. So it's kind of like a...
Yeah, it's like this should be like a rock, paper, scissors thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, some stuff could be like luck of like what gets read, because maybe... There'll be strings of things where it's like, oh man, it's all being read from their side. When are they going to read from my side or something?
Yeah, that's true. There can be a weird order.
Yeah, there can be things like that.
There can be a lot of like 1-syllable cards, or there can be a lot of multiple syllable cards, I guess.
Yeah.
Just like the 50 that you get.
Or maybe it's because she only stood up once, and when she did, that's when she started doing better. But Pseudo stands up constantly, and that's the key to success.
You just have to keep standing up.
Every card taken, stand up.
Don't just sit there.
Yes. Oh, man.
Yep. Chihaya is watching this match, I say, as she's mostly just in the room practicing again. She's not really watching it.
What is she doing? She meets the queen. She should be like, with her obsessive personality, now obsessed with the queen who is so much better than her, that she would want to learn from how she plays the game, or at least get more familiar with the way she plays it for if she were to compete against her as a queen candidate. But no, she's just insanely sitting in the corner of the room, just swiping her arm like a crazy person. God. Yeah. And then, well, her other teammates, she could have been watching, playing, and supporting any of them.
Oh, yeah. No.
What the hell?
Kana comes to get her. She's like, Chihaya, you need to come with me. And Chihaya's like, why? And she's like, Taichi's in the finals for Class B. And she's like, oh, okay. Which means she hasn't like been paying attention to anybody else's stats, even though she got out in round 2.
Yeah, that's very early. She had so much time.
There's so much time.
Ugh.
Like, there was probably like 6 or 7 rounds or something.
Yeah. Several hours have passed and she didn't bother to go check on anyone else. Well, and then when Kana says that, she's like, the first thing she thinks is like, oh, I haven't eaten all day, instead of
yeah.
Like,
I haven't eaten anything.
Yeah, not like, oh man, is everyone else still in it, or no? Selfish.
No,
Sucky
she didn't even know he was in the finals. I mean, she hasn't even been paying attention to the score line at all.
Nope.
Sarah just whacked the desk that the microphone is on.
Oops. My bad. Yeah.
Not paying attention to her team at all.
No, worst captain ever.
She's a terrible captain. Let's see. We go to Taichi's match. It's pretty close. Taichi thinks about catching up to Arata. And this is where we get the thing where the Taichi conundrum, which is, I could play my entire life, or like I could spend my entire youth playing this game and never catch up to Arata. And then Dr.
Harada.
God, his name's Harada and the other guy's name's Arata. Yeah, Dr. Harada is like, you should save that kind of talk until after you gave it your all. Which, like, is a weird response. I'm having a weird time with that being a response. Because the thing Taichi is saying is that, should I spend all this time of my youth practicing this game to just not be the best at it, right? Because his whole thing, and, like, he's been actively encouraged to only do stuff he can be the best at. And Dr. Harada's response is like, well, maybe you should just do all the practicing and then decide later. Which is like, but the conundrum is, should I spend the time practicing or not?
Okay, well, I mean, it is a sports anime, so they're not going to be like, yeah, you should just give up. But, well, like, because Taichi is, in the mindset of wanting to win everything. And so he's just assuming Arata's so good that, like, there's no point in even trying to beat him or put the time into getting good enough to possibly challenge him. But you can't decide if you can never reach that skill set if you haven't even really tried to develop your skill set. Also, like, maybe just have fun doing this thing.
This is the part. This is the thing. This is the thing, right? Where it's like, the answer to that question, and I feel like every other sports anime stuff, is that, like, if you like playing the game, you should, regardless of whether you think you're going to be the best. Like, you should try to be the best you can be, but you should really enjoy the game. But Chihayafuru, as like a show, has not focused on people enjoying the game very much. Like, it's never about Taichi having fun. I don't know if Taichi ever really does have fun. The only time he has fun is when he's like winning or doing well. You know what I mean? Like, he never just like enjoys Karta, which is the thing that confuses me about his conundrum being like, am I ever going to be good enough to beat Arata? And then, like, the solution is like, well, you should just keep trying until you can beat Arata. It's, like, weird to me. Like, shouldn't it be about you enjoying the game or, like, the process of the game? But, like, everything is couched in being better than somebody else or being the best.
Like, I can see the pressure of, like, playing it to win when you're doing the team thing where it's like everyone else's dreams also depend on you. But when it's an individual, I feel like, well, he's also... like, if I am going to keep doing this, I need to be winning these so that I can get to class A. So it's not like he can just enjoy playing class. Like, if that's the reason he wants to play. Lost in losing the plot. Like, what is...
of what's going on. I would almost like it more if he just basically, like, phoned it in and lost round 1. No. You know, in the individuals. And then everyone's like, why did you just,
Chihaya's never going to fall for him. His only chance of making her like him is beating Arata.
It would make more sense from like a character perspective to do something that, I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, really show that, like, he only cares when it's the team game, but he doesn't care when it's the individual
I mean, it's
game.
also like, you have to, well, he is kind of considerate to other people, just general politeness, and like to just not even give your best against whoever it is that you're playing because they're here doing the same thing. Like, it would be frustrating if you're just not trying in your matches and the opponent you have is like, well, that was just a waste of my time. You didn't even try to play against me.
I don't think that's true. Because, like, he gets a bye. I mean, like, he plays against an opponent that forfeit, and he just, like, doesn't care. He's just like, oh, I don't have to play. All right, cool, whatever. He's not like, oh, I got robbed of a game of Karta.
Well, no, but that's
he just doesn't care.
If he's actually playing against them and they weren't trying, I think.
I don't think he would care. I don't think out of everybody in the show, I think he would care the least. You know what I mean? He would just be like, whatever, man.
Oh, God.
I want to feel like he doesn't care. Like, it seems like he does. But then every internal dialogue he has is just like, it's just framed in beating Arata. Like, it's just framed in like the romance competition for him.
Well, I think he cares. And I'm like, my brain's getting tired trying to think of like why he cares and why he doesn't.
I don't think it's explained. I don't think they haven't gone into depth in the show yet. Like, you can come up with theories, but they're just theories. Like, it's not supported by the text of the show particularly.
No, yeah. I mean, like, clearly he kind of enjoys it, but he just doesn't let himself fully enjoy it because he either has to be doing it for the sake of beating Arata for, to be better than him because Chihaya's into Arata players being good, or to win just in general because that's what he's always done. And like, if he doesn't do either of those things, then he doesn't think he can enjoy it just for the sake of it. Then maybe it'll just be a matter of him like learning that it's fun, that he does actually like playing. Although he plays in such a like, let me just recite all the things that haven't been read yet. It's so confusing to follow. That's exhausting.
Like, he hasn't gone, like, he basically has just regained all of his abilities from before. He hasn't really advanced at all. And like, Taichi's whole thing is that he stopped playing because he plateaued. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Which, like, makes sense as to why he'd be kind of indifferent for it. Like, Tsutomu and Kana are both love Karta because it's like a new game for them and they can keep getting better at it because it's like they're just kind of learning everything. Mm-hmm. But like, he's basically stuck and he hasn't really like improved upon anything than where he was before since the show started, right? He's basically just like, brushed off the rust, right?
I mean, it's not like you have to beat your own best record to advance to like Class A. You just have to beat everyone else at whatever event it is you're at. So you could just like keep doing tournaments and eventually like the chances of you being the best at that tournament may be
right. But I mean, this is his whole thing, right? Where he's like, I could I could become Class A, but I'm still not going to be better than Arata because I've plateaued, right? Like, it doesn't seem like I can really get any better than this. Mm. And that's why he's like, should I keep putting effort into it? Mm-hmm. That being said, he's in the finals here, so maybe he can win. Nishida scolds Chihaya for being late because at least somebody cares about him.
Yeah, he's freaking invested in this.
Nishida is like all in on like this match.
Well, we don't even see him because he's in the same.
Yeah, we didn't see him lose. When did he lose?
Because one of these guys must have beaten him.
Yeah.
That Taichi's going against.
We don't even learn who he loses to.
No.
Nishida notes that Taichi is confusing his games up because it's harder to forget previous matches the longer you go. So like he doesn't remember which cards have already been read for this game or like where everything's placed because he remembers the last game because like all his thing, like his whole deal is memorizing stuff really well. But if you play like 8 games in a row, they're all going to kind of blend together, which has happened here.
Yes.
So that's pretty interesting.
Insane.
We get a scene where we learn that Taichi's in a pretty stressful position because there's a lot of like multiple syllable cards left and like all these different things can happen. Chihaya is like, oh, this is so intense. She holds Tsutomu's hand, and then Tsutomu's like, okay. And then he holds Kana's hand, and Kana tries to hold Nishida's hand, but Nishida is like so into it that she like drops it. I don't really get what was happening here.
I know. I was like, Nishida, if you're into her, this is your chance to hold her hand.
He's like totally absorbed by the gameplay.
I guess because it's like
Nishida does actually love Karta.
Yes, and he feels similar. Like he feels close to Taichi Karta wise because both of them like feel like they're comparing themselves to Arata because Nishida lost against Arata. Taichi like doesn't think he could beat him, and so like they both are like kind of working towards the same goal. So it's like if Taichi wins, then it's like almost like he's himself is moving towards the end goal of So like I guess their Karta motivations are similar, and that's why he's so enthralled.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like it makes a little bit more sense for Nishida because Nishida's comparing himself against Taichi, like a guy he can play against, right? Like somebody he knows does certain things, and he's like, well, I'm like as good as him. There's just these things I could improve on, right? Like it's like a concrete goal against a person you can observe. Whereas Taichi is comparing himself to Arata from 4 years ago. Like Arata doesn't even play anymore. You know what I mean? So it's like the theoretical concept of Arata he's comparing himself to. And he feels like he's plateaued. So it's not even like there's obvious things he could get better at, right? So I can see why he would be less interested in like not taking it as seriously. Anyway, Taichi's too slow to take cards, even though he knows like which cards he's going to take. He's just like physically too slow, and he ends up losing, and he loses by 3 cards, so it's pretty close.
Yeah.
He says to himself that he lost to an older player after he had quit after like several years. So like he's still pretty new. This is like his return year, and he lost against somebody who's been playing for a long time. So overall, he did pretty well, which is true. Yes. And then he looks over at his teammates, and they all look super disappointed because they all feel very bad for Taichi's loss. Mm-hmm. They're like, they're empathizing too hard.
Yes.
I don't even know if they're empathizing because Taichi doesn't even feel that bad about his loss.
Well, he was like, I shouldn't feel bad about it. Like, it's clear that he's like a little upset and has to like compose himself before he then goes and faces his teammates. And then once he sees that they are fully feeling it, then he's like, well, now I can't, pretend to not care anymore. And it like breaks his resolve a little, so he gets emotional too.
Yeah, I don't know
about being frustrated.
I don't know what was up with that because the next thing their advisor says in like a voiceover that it's hard to accept defeat even as an adult, but they aren't even consoling each other. But she says it like a positive. She says it like they're not even like trying to minimize their grief or something. I don't know what's happening.
I think
like I get
the purpose of that is to be like, it's hard losing even as an adult, but even these kids who aren't adults yet are still like taking the loss and accepting it and not like being like, it's, they're not having to comfort each other because they already know.
But I don't think that's not like an adult thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I understand sometimes it's like, sometimes you take an L and like people will try to be nice to you and you're like, listen, you just need to give me some time.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't say that it's bad that people are trying to console me. You know what I mean? She's framing it like it's a bad thing. Like they're really mature adult for not trying to console each other.
You need to be able to like get over issues on your own without.
Which is so weird. It seems like the most like bleak interpretation of like a sport being like you're basically just on your own. Like you just need to grow up and like learn how to deal with disappointment.
Well, she's a stern lady.
She sucks. I think this is a bad thing to say.
Well, good thing she didn't say out loud.
I know, but I don't know why we like. It like makes me annoyed to be like, it's okay to like console your teammates. Like maybe give them some space, but like afterwards, it's fine. Like it's good to know that other people think that you did a good job, even if you felt disappointed in yourself, right? Like it's good to get that feedback. I don't think it's bad to get that feedback. Or like it's mature to not console somebody. That's weird.
I don't know. Different people need their. I don't know. I'm like, I don't want to be consoled because then I will just start crying a bunch. Like if you're upset and then someone's like, "Are you okay?" and then it's like, "No, I'm not okay." Now that you asked me if I'm okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It was really weird. Let's see.
2 sentences. We'll just let it go.
They walked back and they passed the Tobi Jingu shrine, and Chihaya bows to it, even though the shrine got you sick, girl.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be bowing to that shrine. You should be pissed. You should be throwing a rock at it. They all bow to it because they're all respectful adults or whatever. Even though it didn't respect her prayers. Listen, if the local god doesn't give it a 1 out of 5 star rating. Rate that local god low.
You think you can rate shrines on Google Maps?
I bet you can. Are you kidding me? Of course you can. I'd be rating that shit 1 star. I prayed to not get sick and I immediately got sick.
Oh my God. It's funny.
Excommunicate this devil at this shrine.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of our Nationals tournament.
It's the end of Nationals. Let's see. We got a couple more scenes, though. It's the next day, and the Carta Club is running in the morning to improve stamina. That's
next day, fun. Man. That's brutal. Get home late.
It's either the next day or there's like a time skip.
Yeah, I hope they got at least a day off.
Let's see. Chihaya has a nightmare about Shinobu and Snowmaru, the mascot snowman. We also get a cut to Arata, who asks to rejoin his local Karate Club society. We see Shinobu practicing by herself in a dark room because she's weird.
Yeah.
And then we see the Karate Club practicing as we get credits. As they announce that the season's over, they're going to have to wait until next...
Well, it's fall now.
Yeah.
So I don't know, something going down in fall.
Like the Karate season's over?
Well, if Nationals is what high schoolers are looking forward to, then that's the end of high school related Karate. But there will be other tournaments.
I guess.
Like not... Whatever the, like... presiding association of Karada in Japan is. I'm assuming they have events, right? And then because they reference,
like the societies stuff.
Chihaya says that the mats that they're playing on at nationals are the mats that they play on when they decide who the king or the
Well, we know that
master
the guy in college that he's going to go for master, and that hasn't happened yet. So there must be some other stuff,
and that happens in January.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we got some more stuff coming up.
So until January, of which there's no way Chihaya can be good enough to be running for Empress.
Well, I'm sure they
Queen.
have you might as well go, right?
I guess so. See where you stand amongst the competition.
There's no reason not to go.
Yeah. So is that what they're going to be training towards now, or is there something else before that they'll be competing in?
I don't know.
Or will we get any school life or more romance, or what's it going to be, Joe?
I don't think we're going to get. I think we're going to get the least satisfying thing we probably can get, which means that it's probably just going to go. We're probably just going to go immediately into another tournament or something.
And what, we have 10 more episodes of this season, essentially.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see where it ends.
I guess, yeah. Joe is still unsure where he stands.
Well, we did all the nationals, so we got through it. Both of these episodes were basically just playing through that game, and then Taichi loses his game. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like we ended anywhere. I mean, we know that Chihaya has a benchmark now against which to play off of.
Reference point.
Taichi does not have a reference point.
No.
Arata is going to start playing again. Mm-hmm. Not that much really happened.
You think he's going to email Chihaya telling her?
No, of course not. He's just going
to email Taichi.
Oh my god, it makes me crazy that he sent her a thing being the next time we meet, it'll be in a match. You can just
email.
He could have just came back the next day.
Yeah, that too.
Why didn't he do that?
I don't know how far of a trip it was for him.
I don't know. But he could call him on the phone. We talked about this. His inability or not interest in reaching out to them just as people. Weird.
Everyone's a terrible friend except Taichi, but also Taichi's a friend with intentions.
Well, Taichi's a fine friend to everybody else in the card.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He seems friends with them.
Yeah. He's the reliable one. Imagine if there was no Taichi in that club and it was just Chihaya running the show.
It just wouldn't work. We need Taichi here. I don't know. You think they're going to hang out as friends? Probably not.
Yeah, we were talking is there going to be a beach episode? Probably not. No beach episode.
They need to be friends for this show to work for me.
Yeah.
But they're not. Nobody's actually friends. They all think they're friends, but they're not.
They're teammates, but maybe not friends outside of
Well, I mean, even Chihaya thinking that her, Taichi, and Arata are friends. You guys are not really friends. I mean, you and Taichi are friends, kind of.
Well, how much time did they even have when, they all became friends as children to when they all separated? How long was that even?
I don't know.
Well, I guess do we want to get into our weird ass filler episode?
Well, do you have any final thoughts? I like that Shinobu's a little weird. I hope she hangs out with them. I want them to hang out. I don't want them to just play Karada together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's weird because she's the best, so it's not
yeah, but she's also 16.
See. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of if we'll see her have any struggles within Karada or growth, but probably not.
I want her to be friends with Taichi.
Shinobu?
Yeah. That would be
funny. There's no way.
And he can Taichi's just generically nice. No. And she's oh, I have a friend. I can't believe it.
I feel
it's not going to happen.
Chihaya is the person who's so into Karada is the only person who could be friends with Shinobu, who is also that into Karada. Everyone else will be intimidated or I can't get on the same level.
This is why I'm saying I think Taichi it could work because Taichi doesn't care about Karada that much, so I don't think he would be that intimidated by her.
He doesn't care about Daddy Bear and Snowmaru either. That's true. He got to connect with on that.
That's true. I just want weird friendships to happen. I want people to be friends in a show that is not about friendship at all. It has
been a strange paced show. There's been no downtime outside of recruiting members.
I am shocked by how, because I usually consider sports anime to also be about the friends you make along the way. This is not about
the borderline boys love.
This is not a show about borderline boys love or the friends you make along the way.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I guess because it's not the things they're doing are because a lot of the times in sports anime it'll be we're better now because we trust each other. So we trust each other because we're friends now.
Yeah,
but that's not a thing. But it's not there's no trust falls in Chihaya.
It's they make up a team version of the game.
Yes,
but it's very much not a team game.
No. Yeah.
They don't even like high five each other. It's like devastating to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Well,
you gotta high five.
That's what we're hoping for.
They need to do a combo. If nobody does a combo move by the end of the season, it's over. They're never going to be friends.
They didn't do their chant.
They didn't do the chant
either. Only that one time.
Episode Reverse 16 is a recap episode. It's called The Autumn Leaves of Mount Ogura. I don't know why it's called that.
I thought they were lines from poems, but I don't know now. But they have to be.
They must be. It's a recap episode that just recaps everything up to this point. That being said, there's a couple of interludes or they do like little comedy bits. So we'll just cover those. Everything else is just like a straightforward recap.
Yep. Of what we just watched.
Of which we, yeah.
Why do we
the first 10,
recap
yeah,
in the middle of a season?
This is like a thing that happened. Like this happened in Gundam Wing in episode like 26. So you're recapping 20, and it was 2 episodes. So each one recaps like 10 episodes. But like that makes sense because it's like, you know, if that was airing on TV,
I guess
that would have been 26 weeks later from the thing. And if you have missed some, you might have gotten something.
I guess that's
Here
true.
it's like 10 episodes. I don't know. Anyway, we get these little interludes. The first interlude is about Chitose. She steals Chihaya's New Year's money to buy a coat. Basically, because her mom's like, oh, here's your New Year's money. Also, give this to Chihaya. And she's like, ha, okay. And then she goes and buys a coat with Chihaya's money. And she tells her that a new law was passed that 10-year-olds can no longer receive money for New Year's. Chihaya's like, oh, no.
She just believes her. I feel like this is something I would do to my sister.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
We also learned that like all of Chihaya's outfits are like hand-me-downs because she's 2 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get a follow-up scene where they're like at the park or something, and Chihaya, like, you know, there's like a model there, and Chitose's like, oh, that lady's really pretty, and like Chihaya's like, but you're the most beautiful sister ever. So she gives her the coat because she feels bad.
Yeah.
And then Chihaya's like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I'll just get mom and dad to buy me another coat.
And they're like, what? Yep. And her mom caught her doing that, and she didn't tell Chihaya like, hey, your sister took all your money.
Yeah.
Like, and she didn't get in trouble for it.
Yep. It's
your sister's running that family.
She is. She's so the favorite.
She is trying to pay the mortgage, though, so I guess
that's how you become the favorite.
Yeah, the head of the family.
Let's see. We got another little thing where it's like still flashback to when they're kids. Taichi's like, how much money did you guys get for... Or like his friends are like, how much money did you get for New Year's, Taichi? And he's like, I got this much. And he's like, what did you get, Arata? Because you're poor. You probably didn't get anything because this is still the past where I'm a huge bully. And Arata's like, well, don't you know it's like illegal for kids over the age of 10 to get New Year's money? And Taichi's like, you just made that up. And then Chihaya is like, nope, that's real. My sister told me that. And Taichi's like, you guys are just making that up.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, Arata's parents probably told him that just because they sadly can't afford to give him anything. And then Chihaya just because of her sister. But it's funny that they just both happen to have been told that, so they're in the majority in this conversation, even though it's not real. And
then Taichi's friends are like, well, how much money did you get? And he got $1,100.
Insane money for a 12-year-old to receive.
Like a 12-year-old.
My God. I don't know how much you would normally. I'm assuming most kids get like $30 or something.
Like $40 or something, you know.
Crazy.
We get another little intercut where they play an idiom game, which is like you say an idiom that describes the next person in the chain. Basically, all we learn is that Chihaya and Nishida don't understand idioms. And Taichi is the punchline.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. Let's see. We get another interlude where like we get an explanation for why Nishida has all of these shirts that are just like graphic tees with words on them.
And they're all like talking about eating or
they're all about how he's fat.
Yeah.
Because it's our favorite joke about Nishida. Mm-hmm. Because the fat phobia is insane in this show. He tells us that his sister makes them. So her sister makes...
Screen printing's a hobby for her.
Yeah, it's a hobby for her. To make weird shirts. So she makes some weird shirts for...
so it's his sister making these for him?
I don't know. Yeah, so, she's like, oh yeah, he asks me, so I make them.
So, like, does he want the shirts to say those things?
I don't know.
Or she puts them on him? So his sister is treating him like this too?
Anyway, that happens. Then we get some talk about who the guys think is the most dateable girl in the Karta Club between Akana and Chihaya. And Nishida and Satomu both vote Kana.
Without a doubt.
Without a
Clear
doubt.
winner.
They're like, it's obvious.
Yes.
And they're like, well, what do you think, Taichi? And Taichi's like, hold on. You guys are just voting for Kana because she has big boobs. And like, they're like, no, that's not why we're voting for Kana. And then Tsutomu's like, listen, Kana is nice, and I can imagine going on a date with her. If I try to imagine going on a date with Chihaya, we would end up just playing Karta, and it would suck. And Taichi's like, damn, you're so right. And he also votes for Kana.
Yeah, it's so good. Oh, man.
And the last one is it's girl talk, but there's no third girl. So they just have to invent a classmate for Chihaya to ask her this question about who's the most dateable in the Karta club. And she says Kana also. So Kana wins with 4 points.
Yeah. Kana's the most dateable.
By being a generic girl.
Yeah.
By being normal.
Well, I mean, look what her competition is.
Yeah, her competition's Chihaya.
Like one or the other. Super normal or abnormal.
Yep.
Oh, man.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. You know, I wish they had more little funny moments in there. Like, I wish these were happening at like the ends of episodes or something.
Yeah, like each episode had one of these.
Yeah, they kind of do that in like Demon Slayer, where they have the little, like, theater thing at the end where they tell little jokes. That's pretty fun. Yeah, they're fun. I mean, they don't matter, but they're at least funny. They should be putting those in there. This show needs more jokes, is what I'm learning. Like, it needs more comedy. Because I'm like, oh, they can do it. You know, they got jokes.
Yeah.
Not in the show.
No.
But they got the capacity.
Yes. They have the material to work with. I don't
love the she does fat jokes, and I don't love that like his sister is just like the girl version of him. I mean, that's kind of funny, I guess. Well, I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent towards that.
Yeah, she's just wearing a wig, basically.
Maybe they shouldn't do comedy.
Well, they also have the one where like, they had her make shirts for the whole team.
Oh yeah, but it's like in a specific order because it spells out their school.
Yeah, and so it's like, well, we have to play in this order now, or else our shirts aren't going to make sense.
And then she's like, "Oh, they made the order based off of how much my sister likes your aesthetic or something." And Tsutomu is first.
Yes.
And Taichi and Chihaya are like second to last and last.
Yes.
Mostly they're just funny because Taichi is the butt of all these jokes, and it's funny to watch Taichi get owned.
Like, poor Taichi is the sentiment through the whole show. We're just doubling down on that.
But he's also the rich kid who gets everything he wants, so it's like, that's funny at least.
Yes. Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's these episodes.
Yes, so I know I was bummed we didn't have a third, like, for real episode to talk about.
No, not a lot to say about these. I mean, these are just like, these feel like season enders.
Well, because this is like not the first time where they have like mid-episode, they play like credits on the screen with like the opening song playing, which always is like what the ending of a season looks like. And then it's like episode continue from that point. Like, it's not just not the end of the episode, but not the end of the season either. It's so weird.
Yeah. But like maybe they
had like pauses between,
because we have 9 episodes left. Yeah, it's like a weird split to have like the first thing be 15 and then the next be 9.
Yeah, unusual.
Oh well.
Yeah, that's Chihayafuru. Let's see. You did not play more Forgotten Anne.
I did not play any more Forgotten Anne. I'm still ahead. I don't know if should I keep talking about it if you haven't played it? Like, how are we supposed to do this? Because I've like played far enough ahead where like it's plot spoilers. Like, we're in a different. Well,
I guess since I didn't talk about anything last time because I hadn't watched my thing and you talked about yours, we could do that for this time where I just talked because we watched like.
Okay, yeah. So we watched more G-Witch.
Yep.
Watched it together.
Yes.
From episode 4 to episode 9 or
something like that.
8 or something.
Well, okay.
So what's happened?
Basically, Howl guy, cute guy, like his whole arc happens in like 3 episodes where like he is starting to try and hang out with her more for ulterior motives because his company is trying to research Gundam stuff.
Yep.
And so he's just under the pretense of wanting to hang out with Suletta, being like, hey, let's hang out. Oh, also bring Ariel your gun, your suit thing.
Yep.
And then so they're out doing that, and she's trying to act like it's a normal social thing where it's like, let me learn something about you, and tries to ask him for his birthday, and he's all like, oh, I don't have one. Super dramatic. And then he's like, hey, can I try piloting this? And then while they were both in there, she was piloting and he was hanging out. But as soon as he does, she's like left in the dust on the side while he goes and
he's
alone.
like, can I pilot your Gundam? And she's like, okay.
Yeah. And like, so I feel like surely her mom sent her there not knowing anything because she wanted people to look into this thing to cause a ruckus.
Yes.
Otherwise, she would have like told her daughter, like, hey, you can't let other people pilot it, or you gotta keep this on the down low. But like, she doesn't know any of that. So she's like setting up her daughter for like failure. And so like, I think her mom's a terrible mother. And like, God dang.
Yeah, she's got her mom definitely has some ulterior motives.
Yeah. And it turns out Elam or whatever the Howl guy is like not the actual identity he's presuming to be. He's just like a rando who's a stand-in for the guy, who I guess is like the heir of the company, blah, blah, blah. Or I don't know if the actual guy is doing important stuff or just doesn't want to go to school. And so he has like these rando strays basically take on his appearance and go to school in his stead to do all this stuff.
Yeah. Well, we know that like being good at Gundam duels can like win you things. Right. So you want to have somebody who's good to be your representative. So I think that's why. It's because like they've modified all of like his replacement guys to be able to like pilot Gundam stuff, which like for regular people, for not Ariel, the Gundam that Soletta drives, it like messes you up. Like it like because it does like neural feedback and it like starts breaking your body essentially. So that's why he doesn't want to do it, because he's like, well, I'm the actual heir of this company. I can't be dying. But we can certainly just pay someone else to do it. That's what they do.
But but the one that she's hanging out with isn't even the first of these replacements.
No,
so
he's
like
the fourth.
So like, what were those other ones doing? Because it's not like there were other Gundams, were there? Up to that point?
I don't know. Maybe.
But anyways, turns out they're like, okay, we're done with this model. And then they just kill him.
And they just kill him.
And like, that's it.
They just
bye, guy.
Yep.
Oh my God. So I thought he was going to be more of a character. So that is a dumbass, so she'll never know. And so that's like a whole thing that happens. And then weird pink hair guy is like definitely has the hots for her and like did another duel, lost. Now he's like a dessert, or he's
banished,
a homeless person now.
Yeah, they banished him from the house because he kept losing, and they're like, dude, you need to stop dueling. And he does it anyway and loses.
Yes.
Because he sucks.
So it's weird. But like, and then she goes to this fancy party thing with her, and they call her a bridegroom.
You're watching the dub. I did not realize you were watching the dub.
Okay.
In the sub, they just call her the groom.
That's still dumb. Just call her a fiance. Why?
Because it's the name of the title. It doesn't matter.
It bothers me. Anyways, they go to this thing. They have a joke where it's like, my dress doesn't fit you because your boobs are bigger than mine. Let's slip in a thing where we think about boobs, at least even if we don't specifically say boobs. And then her hair looks different. Also, when she's piloting, her hair is different, but basically all she does is clip up her little rat tail ponytail. And it looks stupid. It looks like a noodle being held up to her head instead of just like making a new hairstyle. It's stupid. Dumb. I hate it. Let's see. So she's like or Earthians. There's like houses.
Yeah. So
there's houses by planet or by company affiliation?
It's by company. It's mostly just like you form like a little group. And so all of the people from Earth form a group, even though they're not like part of the same company or anything.
Oh yeah. And then Pink Chick like clocks a girl. She like
ShouJoe punches the shit out of a girl.
Oh, as a girl. It's so good. I hate her hair, but like when she wears her outfit, at least we don't have to see the crazy hair.
Yeah. She has like big pom-pom hair.
Yes.
It's like crazy.
So that was fun.
I mean, like, you know, Earthlings are like an oppressed class.
Yeah.
For like a bunch of people that live in space and oppress them, which is kind of like the opposite.
Which is wild because they're the originators of everyone else. All of humanity came from Earth.
In UC, the like main Gundam line, it's the opposite.
Oh.
Where like all of the like rich nobility and stuff live on Earth and like forced all of like poor laborers and stuff out into space. This is just reversing it.
Okay. So it's so peculiar. It's like Final Fantasy Gundam, where it's like each title is unrelated to each other and the rules don't apply.
Yeah. It's pretty similar. Like there's the same stuff. Like there's a Gundam. It means different things in different worlds, but like it's like how you have the same summons in Final Fantasy. Like Ifrit's always there.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like in Persona, like you always have, you know,
the
freaking Jack Frost or whatever the hell.
Yeah, the little snowman.
Yeah, even though they're not related.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's crazy. And it's trying to get more like political and like business oriented. So that's all going over my head. And I had to have Joe explain it to me.
It's not clear. Like it's pretty hard to follow. Like they do not make it very easy. You don't really have to pay that much attention. Like the thing that I like about this show is that everyone else in the show is having like a corporate espionage plot except for Soletta, who's trying to just have like a school life.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're always just like, I hope, like, what's Soletta doing? It'll, like, the plot will be simple.
Yeah.
And then when you try to figure out what the hell everyone else is doing, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But at least you know you will never be more confused than Soletta is.
That's true. Yeah.
This is the same mentality I have with Kingdom Hearts, where it's like, as confusing as the Kingdom Hearts plot gets, you will never be more confused than Sora, so it's okay.
Yeah, I guess in that case, you're, like, actually experiencing it the way the protagonist is versus a lot of the times it's like, you can gather what's happening, but the protagonist hasn't been blatantly told what's happening.
Yeah.
So it's more like you're experiencing it along with them.
Like after any complicated scene, like the one where like Mirade forms that company, so I was like,
yeah.
So what happened? What just happened on screen? She has to explain it to her.
Yes,
it's pretty good.
Yeah. So we'll see how much more complicated it gets for when I don't have Joe here to explain it to me.
Yeah. But how are you feeling about it so far?
I mean, I guess I like it. It gets I feel like it's like I'm gonna have to consume it in short batches to process what's
it's hard to just watch all of it.
Yeah.
We watched a lot of episodes in a row.
Yes. Well, that's normally I just binge. I'm not like this is, you know, having to wait to find out what happens in Chihaya. Normally I would just watch it all if I could.
Yeah, I feel like Chihayafuru is pretty good to binge because so little happens in an episode.
Yeah, that mulling it over. But it's at least with these shows, some of them I'm getting to do that where like I've done the binge version and now I'm doing the more like.
Is it changing your opinion? Like, has your opinion of Chihayafuru changed by us going really slow?
I guess so. Like the pacing is more noticeably odd than if I just watched it back to back.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't have the time to reflect on like, oh, it's weird that only was an episode or this or that.
Does it seem weird knowing that like this show aired week to week? Like this is before like the streaming era.
Yeah.
So like this is just like you're supposed to consume it the way we are. We're supposed to consume it at an even slower pace than we are.
Yes. Yeah. I'm like, what? Because even like as a kid, the shows I watched, I only watched when I had a chance to watch them and not in order.
Yeah.
And that worked for shows like Pokemon where it's not like
they're not designed to be watched in order. Yeah.
But I mean reality shows are like the only shows that I watch as they come out. I mean, speaking of which, I got Joe to watch the first episode of Love Island US season 6.
Yep.
And that's like the most dramatic. That's the one that like bumped up Love Island to like top streaming show for the summer of 2024 and all this. And so it's a very dramatic season. He doesn't like Rob, one of the notable players.
I don't.
And
I don't really like how the gameplay works either. I think it's weird that someone could just show up and decide they're coupled with you and then you have to be coupled with them. That's weird.
Oh, no consent. Yeah.
It's like, what?
Well, yeah. So that's why people would be like, chicks will like double check, like, okay, you made sure to make it clear to her that you weren't interested, right?
Yeah, so but it like seemingly doesn't matter.
Well, because like he very clearly, they didn't have that, like they didn't have a connection and she picked him anyways.
Yeah.
And he was hitting it
and
off
now he
with
just
Leah.
has to pretend to be like, I don't understand what it means. Like, what does it mean to be coupled up with somebody? Because it seems like it doesn't matter.
No, you just sleep together and participate in challenges together. But basically, nighttime is when people get hanky panky. It's like, damn, we can't like get crazy under the bed sheets now because you can't like sleep with who you want. You have to sleep with who you're in the couple with. So
it's weird.
We're going through outfits. We're judging outfits.
The outfits are bad.
Yeah. We like Cordell's style. We love Cordell wants to be a Cheez-Its brand ambassador.
Unfortunately, Cordell is very stupid.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
There's no way I would commit 5 hours every week watching this.
No, every morning. Yeah. Australia's only 4 episodes a week. And then I would feel the void on Friday mornings. Like, damn, there's no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it all feels like, it's all like super fake, right? Like nobody actually like really likes anybody else on this show. You know what I mean?
There's been a few like marriages and some Love Island kids. It just doesn't happen very often. And I wouldn't say it's happened in recent seasons.
There's nothing about this format that would make me think that any of these people would actually be that interested in each other. It's all a test,
Joe, so that they can survive on the outside. If you can pass the temptation test here, then you can.
What's the temptation?
New hot folks coming in every few days.
It just seems like, what if you were surrounded by a bunch of hot people you didn't know very well, which is like, okay, sure.
Yeah. Well, and these are all people who would ghost each other normally if it didn't work out, so they're like forced to like be around people that they don't necessarily want to if it didn't work out, and having to coexist with them,
right?
In like a strange way. But yeah.
Yeah, the vibes seem bad. Is my take.
We want bad vibes. It makes drama. And we want drama. But yeah, what we've been up to so far. We're just kind of, when I went to visit Joe, it was like, okay, here's what we're doing on this day. And there's a schedule. And that is not the case here.
That is not the case here.
So, I don't know if Joe is like secretly dying on the inside because we don't have like set in stone plans, but I'm very much more like, what do we feel like doing today? But also I'm like trying to be accommodating, but also like because there's no schedule and I'm the one who lives here, I should be the one being like, okay, here's what we're going to do today. But I don't want to like force you to do something you don't want to do.
No, it's fine. We can do stuff.
We're going roller skating at some point. That's all I know.
Okay. That's good. I like roller skating.
Playing it day by day otherwise.
Yep.
So we'll see.
We'll see how that goes.
Yep. Anything else? New year, new time to
rate us 5 stars.
Yeah.
In the new year. Hey, you want to give us a New Year's gift? You should rate us 5 stars.
Sound happier. Even your eyes are like,
I know you haven't done
glazed over as you say.
I'm like kind of like scolding. Yeah. You should do that. We're gonna finish up Chihayafuru in 3 more episodes, and by the time we're done, it will be February, and we'll have a new show.
And it'll be our first anniversary.
Yeah, and it'll also be around our first anniversary time, so that'll be good. You should let people know about the show. I think it seems like we're gonna finish up this season. We're gonna watch another show, and then maybe we'll do the second season. We're gonna like split it up, so we're not just watching Chihayafuru all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And we have a new show that we're going to do that's a little based on kind of some stuff being released. So that should hopefully be good. Let people know about the show if you think it's good and you think someone else would enjoy it. Word of mouth's a good way to spread stuff. Yeah. So please do that.
Yeah. Do it for us. Pretty please.
Yeah. So I think that's it. What did we learn in these episodes?
Support your teammates.
Yeah, go watch your teammates play instead of just like zoning out watching someone else play.
Shinobu should be like me. I only wear graphic tees of things I know so that if people ask me about it, I'm not like a poser who doesn't know what it is I'm wearing.
She doesn't even know the Snowman had a name. That's so embarrassing.
Yeah, so like That's like when they do on Man on the Street and they like ask people who are wearing band shirts to list 3 songs by that
don't
band.
Do that,
and then they can never asshole. Do it.
That's just like such a dick thing to do. If someone ever asks you to like list 3 things from a thing that they're like, oh, I'm not sure you're a real fan, you should tell them to fuck off. Okay. You should ask them to list 3 friends they have and just walk away.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
They won't be able to do it because they're
that advice.
Insufferable losers.
God.
Yeah,
okay. Well, on that note, we hope you all had a good 2024, and here's to...
It's going to be our year.
2025.
You should go around telling people it's our year.
Yeah, that's right. Woo! 2025. Woo, woo, woo. Okay. Chat to you next time, folks.
Chat to you later.
Bye-bye. Toodaloo. Fairly well. Sayonara. Ni hao is hello, isn't it?
We don't need to do this.
Bye. Say bye, Joe.
Bye.